The 6 men were arrested after Deokaran was gunned down outside her home in Winchester Hills in Johannesburg. They all have retracted their confessions, claiming that these were given under duress after they were assaulted. Deokaran was a witness in the Special Investigating Unit's inquiry into personal protective equipment tender fraud in their provincial health department. Pagamani Hadebe, Zita Hadebe, as well as Babita Ndlovu, Sanelembele, Spiwe Mazbogo, and Sipaganyiswe Dladla are all facing murder charges for the death of the whistleblower. The group appeared in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court today. On Tuesday, one of the accused, Pagamani Hadebe, made a U-turn after implicating former Health Minister Willem Kize in the killing of Babita Deokaran. In his bail application, he retracted his confession where he had claimed to have met with Mkhize to plan the hit. The state alleges that the group was paid 400,000 rand for the organized hit. All right, let's get more details on both these cases. We're now joined in the studio by SABC specialist reporter Hasina Gori. A very good afternoon to you, Hasina. All right, let's start with the case of Nomia Rosemary Ndlovu. I think it's top of mind for most this afternoon. A sentence now being given life sentence. It seems Nomia Ndlovu's court antics and theatrics didn't really move the court. Quite a harsh sentence, obviously, there. What did the court say really in handing down this particular sentence?
As you mentioned, quite a emotional and teary day. We saw pre-sentencing earlier, in the day where the state called on the family of the victims to come and explain and say what they would like to see in the mitigation of sentencing. Very emotional, accounts from the brother as well as the grandmother of some of these victims who are her family. If we must remember, she's been accused or she's been found guilty now of and convicted of murdering her family members, all for insurance payouts. Many of them saying that it's affected their families, that children have now been affected by it, that she showed no remorse, even though she did take the stand today and apologized to her family as well as, teared a bit. They said that they felt she had no remorse, that it was done for money. And, the state, even the prosecutor telling her that it was not done, for the betterment of her family. It was done for her own gambling addiction, which she had, and that the money was spent in these casinos. Her response to the state, as you said, her theatrics that we've seen, quite flippant, quite sassy at times, telling the state prosecutor that if she had money, she wouldn't be in the casinos. So the judge was not moved. We saw it throughout the trial. He had stopped her many times, telling her to respond properly, that it will be taken into account when judgment as well as sentencing will be done. How she responded to the prosecutor. She did defer a lot. She refused to answer, correctly. But he did say her sassiness, when he handed down judgment last month, he did say he would not take that into account. He would pardon her for the sassiness, but he did hand down 6 life sentencing for those family members, that is the 5 relatives, which include her sister as well as her boyfriend. She was also given for the fraud, which we know during the case it came out that she'd opened up some of these insurance policies with the wrong relationship to some of them, claiming them as a husband when they were her cousins, or using wrong people to come there and open up these accounts, or acting and impersonating her sister to find out more of the policies. All these policies, strangely, she seemed to have taken out for accidental cover, not for natural death. For an unnatural death, she was always the beneficiary. Even in the case of her sister, who took out the policy herself, she was named the beneficiary. So all these circumstances, while the evidence was circumstantial, showed that she had motive, that it was pre-planned. One of the witnesses that came and took the stand today, the criminologist, said that she could be actually termed as a serial murderer. That she's done this consecutively. She showed no remorse, and direct imprisonment is what should be given to her. That is what was handed down by the judge today, saying that she's going to be given 6 life sentences and consecutively a whole lot of more. And
I'm interested to know, some of the family members were there are people that are alive only because of the fact that she was caught out. She could have probably continued on this killing spree, and it's perhaps quite scary for them to think about the fact that, listen, this could have actually been us that was killed at the end of the day, so that she could continue claiming. When the sentence was handed down, I would imagine that it wasn't necessarily just a relief on the part of the family. As you say, this is family at the end of the day. You don't necessarily want to see a family member going to jail or going to prison for life. But it would be interesting to know, how was that reaction when that particular sentence was handed down? I mean, you talk about the fact that there was like sadness and all of that, but it just, one needs to know whether it was a balance of sort of being relieved that she's, out of the way, but also pure sadness based on the fact that it's your sister, it's your family.
As you mentioned, it is family, and the mother who did, come and give testimony on her trial, really trying to stand up for her daughter.
Yeah.
She wasn't there today. She's from Bushbuck Ridge. Today, the family that were there, we saw tears during the court case as well at that moment. But there's also a kind of like this nervous laughter that came out at some point, like almost, oh my God, is this real? Did this really happen? From Nomia herself, there was tears, but also kind of shock. She always seems to, even when judgment was handed down, just sit there and just, look in a bit of like, okay, this is real.
Yeah.
We did see her also try and ask the court to have her moved from Hosimampur, where she's being held in Pretoria, to the Johannesburg prison, saying that she wants to be close to family, saying that there were some family when she was imprisoned. She's been in prison from 2018. They have been visiting her, so she would, they would like to be able to visit her, so to be closer. I don't see that, being changed or her being moved, but that was one of her concerns, that, she does want to see her family. Yeah. We know that she's also, you talk about family members that might have been killed. She was found guilty for trying to attempt murder her own mother, as well as a sister and the children. So again, those emotions quite mixed in court today, but emotionally everyone was quite sad but relieved.
Let's move, shift our focus then to the Babita Deokaran murder case. I mean, there were accusations. There have been that there were forced confessions. That's been withdrawn by the accused. Also backtracking, where one of the accused had claimed that they met with former Minister Dr. Willem Kiza, and that this hit was really planned by him and so forth. Talk to us about all of this that's taking place in this case, and what's happening now. What's the latest?
Quite an interesting case, as you say. So much happening, and we're only at bail application right now. So the 6 accused, firstly, it took quite a long time for them to have their bail application, because there was either delays in them getting access in prison, because with COVID regulations, they're only allowed to consult with their legal team on a Friday. Then we also had the hacking at the court, which caused delays because the recording machines weren't able to record at that time. So they finally began the process, and accused number 1 dropped that bombshell, saying that he retracts his statement, saying that he had only said that because he was being assaulted at Terfontein racecourse, where they were held after he was arrested. He said that no time, and this is a statement we heard throughout in all 6 of the accused, saying that they weren't identified as police officers. They didn't know they were being arrested at that time. The one of the accused saying that he's a Bolt driver and he was at a petrol station when people came up and accosted them. He thought he was being kidnapped or being hijacked, and he tried to run away. We heard from the legal attorney who said, Shafiq Saleh, saying that when he was called to say that there's 7 accused, because remember 7 people were arrested in the beginning, only 6 were then charged, that he was told that he needs to, urgently, represent the 6, and he was unable to locate the clients, the 7 of them, until the next day. And when he did and found them at a police station, he wasn't allowed access for quite a long time. So there's just some of the allegations coming through, allegations of assault, that they claimed that they were assaulted, they were beaten. The one said he wasn't beaten at the one location, but when he was moved, that was also an issue. But coming to former Minister, Health Minister Willem Kiza, and the allegations around him. Today in court, we heard from the defense telling us they wanted to bring an application or to find out from the state what is the status of Mr. Kiza, whether or not he's a potential suspect or a potential
person of interest
in this case, because his legal team had reached out to the defense following Pagamile Hadebe's statements in his affidavit on Tuesday. We also know that the minister did then put out a statement on Wednesday, retracting, and really saying that he had never met with them. So again, he contacted his legal team, contacted the defense team to find out if he could be part of their process. The state has said on the record right now, they are not obliged to say who is the person of interest, but the former minister's name does come up in their case docket. So right now he may be a potential witness or a potential suspect, and the defense was unable to get affidavits from him right now regarding this. So it's going to be quite interesting going forward once we get to trial what exactly took place. We know that the defense had asked for further information from the state on why exactly these 6 suspects were linked to the murder of Babita Deokaran. What they said is relying on footage from video cameras and CCTV footages on the day of the killing, as well as days leading up to the killing. There's specific vehicles, a BMW, a sedan, as well as 2 polos and a van that were seen in the vicinity of Omonde, Mondio, and the area where Babita Deokaran lives. They track it following her home the one day, as well as leading up to when she was shot. So those were some of the some of the reasons it gave. So linking them to that killing. They've denied, or they are calling for bail to be denied, because all these men have not actually resided in Joburg for more than a month before the killing took place.
This is intriguing indeed. No doubt we'll be touching base with you as you follow these cases. Well, the one I suppose is being wrapped up now, but certainly this particular case involving Deokaran will certainly be one that we talk about further. Thank you very much to you, Hasina Gori, for us, our specialist reporter, taking a look at these particular court cases, Rosemary Ndlovu, and of course the murder trial that's set to start. In fact, we're now still sitting at the bail part of it, of Babita Deokaran. So we'll take a look at that more as that develops with Hasina Gori.